Today, we're going to be taking a look at in-store credits and some management things with the in-store credits that are in your RB installation. First, we'll see where to audit your in-store credits, and then we'll talk about the process that you can use if you need to return an in-store credit to a customer. Usually, if you need to clear an in-store credit, this is the only method you really should use, because technically an in-store credit is a liability that your company owes the customer. So removing an in-store credit generally results in a refund. In some very specific situations, you might need to also remove in-store credits without providing a refund. Before you do this, we recommend you check with your legal professional because in-store credit removal and the laws surrounding it vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. We don't want anyone to get in trouble. If you are in a position where you can and need to specifically remove a credit, perhaps it's been used, but it still remains in the system, I'm also going to show you a process that you can do for that, with the caveat that you've done your homework and checked. Because generally speaking, once an in-store credit is issued, that liability needs to stay on the books until the customer is either refunded or uses it as a payment. Either way, let's take a look at our journey. We're going to start in our sales order screen where we can look at our in-store credits that are all on the register. All right, now that we're inside of RB, we're going to take our first peek in the sales order dashboard. Of course, we're going to access the in-store credit section of the sales order dashboard. So we're going to go to the menu in the top left and select in-store credit. RB will then display a listing of all of the accounts that have in-store credits applied to them. I'm going to sort by balance due, and we're going to take a look at William's account here. William has a $132 in-store credit. Maybe this was a deposit. Maybe we pushed that take deposit button and we took an amount in. Perhaps it was a return and we no longer want to do business with William, so we want to square him up and refund him the in-store credits. Whatever the reason being, we want to refund William's in-store credit. This is easy. To accomplish this, and this is the method that you're probably going to be using an extreme, overwhelming majority of the time, is you're going to be refunding the in-store credits. All we have to do is click Modify, and RB is going to open up, I like to think of it as a hidden sales order that was auto-created when you created the in-store credit. From here, all I need to do is apply a payment the same way I would any other refund to balance the credit. So if William has $132.51 and I'm refunding him $132.51, I'm going to apply a refund and process that refund the same way I would any other refund. Now that I've issued him his refund, you can see that the in-store credit sales order is balanced at 0. I can simply save, and that will take care of William's credit. When I return back to the in-store credit dashboard, I will see that William no longer shows up on the in-store credit listing because his credit was addressed. We refunded him the liability that we owed him. When you first drop back to the menu, sometimes you might need to refresh the screen to see William drop off of this list. But rest assured, when you save that sales order at a value of 0 and have refunded William the value of his credit, the in-store credit will be off of your books. That is the method that you are going to use to refund almost every in-store credit that you need to clear from the books. Remember, it is still a liability that you owe your customers. We can't just take their money and evaporate their credit. We do usually have to refund it. There are very unique circumstances where you might need to just eliminate an in-store credit. You want to be very cautious when you do this practice. First, check with your legal professional. Laws vary in jurisdictions, state to state, county to county, country laws. You want to make sure that what you are doing is something that you are permitted to do. There are some jurisdictions that do not permit you to just nuke an in-store credit because it is money owed to a customer. In an example where perhaps a credit was created in error, or a situation where a customer had a credit, it was applied somewhere, but not processed correctly through RB, and the credit persisted on their account, we might have need to eliminate a credit. Again, this is a very rare situation, but it can pop up, and I'm going to show you how to do that, provided you've done the homework. To eliminate the credit, we have a lot of steps, and we have to keep very detailed notes throughout the entire process, because elimination of a credit usually is a cause or a flag for folks to look deeper, and we want to make sure that we fully explain transactionally what we are doing in this process. To begin, we are actually going to go into our inventory module, into the inventory items, and you are going to create a part. The part number that we are creating is a part that we are going to use as a line item on invoices to gobble up that particular credit. I already have a part created. We're going to go through it, and you should create a similar part. I've just simply named it in-store credit removal. The vendor is me. There is no fixed cost. For the description, I, again, duplicated in-store credit removal and assigned it a department and a category. In the financial tab, for pricing, we are going to leave it priced at $0. We are also going to make sure that it is not taxable, that it's flagged as a non-inventory item, and that the not counted as sale checkbox is ticked. This way, these numbers don't bake into your revenue, because we are going to do a transaction with this item. Once you have your item set up, you'll save it, and you'll leave your inventory items screen. And we will go now to our cash register module. When we arrive at the cash register module, we're going to start a sale like we would any other. We are going to look up our customer that has this credit that we need to eliminate. Select the correct customer. And on this cash register sale, we are going to put our in-store credit removal line item. From here, we will open that line item, and we are going to price that line item at the amount of the in-store credit that we need to eliminate. For my example here, perhaps I used take deposit, and the customer gave me a $5,000 deposit, and procedurally someone did something wrong. Perhaps we issued him a $5,000 discount when we wrote his sales order instead of applying his in-store credit. So we need to remove the in-store credit in this situation. Once I have that line item added to the ticket, I am going to go into special comments and put incredibly detailed notes explaining why and how I am removing this credit. So customer had previous credit as a discount on transaction number, and then I would list the original transaction number on such date. Credit needed removed for balanced bookkeeping as it was already applied. I want to be very distinct and identify the unique reason why I am effectively taking $5,000 of this customer's money. because on paper, that's what it looks like. We know that's not what you're doing, but we don't want to raise any eyebrows. So we're going to have very good record keeping here. Once we have done that, we are going to apply payment, and we are going to apply in-store credit to this customer. So we're going to use the customer's in-store credit to pay for that particular line item. Once I hit process payment and the transaction completes, that $5,000 of in-store credit has been gobbled up and it is removed from that customer's record. Again, you're not going to do this process very often. And when you do, you need to have great notes, incredible reasoning, and the legal justification to do so. So please make sure you do your homework before you do this process. Most of the time, you're going to be refunding these credits, and that is as easy as going to that sales order dashboard and just applying a payment. But that would be how we nuke a credit that might have been inadvertently applied or perhaps mismanaged in some way or another. But before you do that, you have to make sure that the customer used that credit so that you don't get accused of stealing from your customers. That would be a very bad situation, and we don't want that. So in-store credits are audited from that sales order screen. Most of the time, you're going to be refunding them. And every once in a while, if you have a ugly bookkeeping situation, usually due to an error on your end, you're going to be able to eliminate the credit with good notes through a transaction. And the last thing I want to remind you is when you do remove a credit outright, please keep a listing if you're doing multiples, and we shouldn't be doing too many of these, and let your accountant know the transaction, the customer, and the amount of the credit that you removed. Even though it's not counted as sale, your accountant needs to be made aware that that transaction exists so that they can possibly, depending on their manual process, account for it in other areas. But that's it. You now are equipped to refund those credits and in a pinch, when you have to, eliminate them due to some errors. Hope this is helpful. We'll talk to you next time.